The first time he saw her again, she was standing in the rain, shaking, exhausted, and on the verge of collapsing. He almost didn't recognize her. But his heart did. It always had. 5 years earlier, she had been the brightest person in the room. Emma had this quiet confidence, the kind that didn't need attention but naturally drew it. Back then, Daniel wasn't a CEO. He was just another employee, sitting 2 desks behind her, stealing glances when she laughed and memorizing the way she tucked her hair behind her ear when she was nervous. He never told her how he felt. Not when she helped him stay late to fix a project. Not when she brought him coffee without asking. And definitely not when she tearfully told him she was leaving the company for a better opportunity. He smiled, wished her luck, and watched her walk out of his life. That was 5 years ago. Now Daniel stood under the shelter of his car, staring at the woman he had never truly let go of. Emma looked different. Not just older, but worn down, like life had taken more from her than it had given back. "Emma," he called softly. She looked up, confused at first. Then her eyes widened. "Daniel." Before she could say anything else, her knees buckled. He rushed forward, catching her just in time. She was lighter than he remembered. Too light. Hey, I've got you," he said, his voice tight with concern. At the hospital, Daniel refused to leave. Hours passed before a doctor finally came out. "She's severely dehydrated and malnourished," the doctor said carefully. "And she's been under a lot of stress." Daniel clenched his jaw. "Will she be okay?" "She will. But she needs support." Support. The word echoed in his mind. When Emma woke up, she looked around the room in confusion. Her gaze landed on him, sitting beside her bed. "You didn't have to stay," she whispered. "I know," he said gently. "But I wanted to." For a moment, neither of them spoke. The silence was heavy, filled with everything they never said years ago. "What happened to you?" he finally asked. Emma looked away, her eyes filling with tears. "I thought I was chasing something better. A bigger job, more money. But it turned into something else." She paused, swallowing hard. "Toxic workplace. Long hours. No real friends. I lost myself trying to keep up." Daniel listened, his heart breaking with every word. "I didn't think anyone would notice if I disappeared," she added quietly. "I would have noticed," he said immediately. She looked at him, surprised. "I always noticed you, Emma," he admitted, his voice steady but vulnerable. "I just never had the courage to say it." Her lips parted slightly, caught between disbelief and emotion. Over the next few weeks, Daniel made sure she had everything she needed. A safe place to stay. Time to heal. But more than that, he gave her something she hadn't felt in years, genuine care. One evening, as they sat on the balcony of his apartment, watching the city lights flicker, Emma turned to him. "Why are you doing all this?" she asked softly. Daniel took a deep breath. "Because I never stopped caring about you." The words hung in the air. "For 5 years," he continued, "I tried to move on. I built a company, surrounded myself with success, but none of it felt complete." He looked at her, his eyes honest and unguarded. "Because you were missing." Emma's eyes filled with tears again, but this time they weren't from pain. "I thought I had to prove something to the world," she said. "But all I really wanted was to feel seen." "You are seen," he said quietly. "You always have been." That was the moment everything shifted. Their connection didn't rush into something dramatic. It grew slowly, naturally, built on trust, honesty, and all the years they had lost. For the first time in a long while, Emma felt like she could breathe again. And Daniel? He finally felt like he had found what success truly meant. Months later, standing in the same spot where he had once found her in the rain, Daniel smiled as Emma walked toward him, stronger, happier, and glowing in a way that had nothing to do with appearances. "Ready?" she asked, reaching for his hand. "Always," he replied. Sometimes, life takes people apart not to end their story, but to give them time to grow into the version of themselves that can truly love and be loved. And sometimes, the person who sees you at your lowest is the one who has been quietly loving you all along.